Good morning, everybody.
I left at 9:05.
There's plenty of seats if people want to find seats.
Okay.
Somewhere.
I know some of us like to stand, but we're going to be here for a little bit. We're about to celebrate. So please feel free to find a seat. My name is Ryan Hooper. I'm the athletic director here at SUNY Oneonta, and I would like to welcome everybody to our 2025 Athletic Hall of Fame induction to induct 8 wonderful people who have had a significant impact on our department and on this institution. We're here to celebrate our most outstanding athletic alums along with all of their accomplishments, and you're going to hear a lot more about that later on as our MC Jeff Hazard is going to come up and share some stories with all of you. I try to keep this brief because I know you guys don't want to hear from me. You want to hear from Jeff. You want to hear from our alums. But I do want to talk about our current students in our athletic department a little bit. But before we do that, there are some people I would like to recognize and have stand because we can't be here today and we can't be inducting this wonderful class without some individuals in this room, including our Hall of Fame committee, which is chaired by Jeff Hazard. So I do ask any members of our Hall of Fame committee to please stand and be recognized. And I would also love to ask, because I know we have a lot of you in the room, any other Hall of Fame members that we have here with us today that have been inducted in years past, please stand and be recognized. Thank you. All right. So, thank you all for being here. We can't do this alone. There's a lot of people on campus between our administration, our coaching staff, our department, facilities folks that allow us to do the things we do to be successful. So I do want to say thank you to all of them. But I would personally like to congratulate our 2025 class, which is comprised of Leonard Gereau of men's basketball and baseball, Samantha Szkotak of women's basketball. Why can't I do this? Mike Lauer of men's lacrosse, Justin Firenze of men's tennis, Michelle Hartney Olive of softball, Rose Velan Beckett of women's soccer and track and field, Sean Bernstein of men's track and field, and our honorary member, Dr. Jennifer Bueche, who's also our faculty athletic representative for many years. We're so excited to celebrate all of you today, and we cannot wait to hear the stories that you have to share in just a little bit. But I do want to kind of talk about some of the things that we've been doing in athletics recently. So please just give me the next 5 minutes of your time, and then we'll kind of move through it. I'm not sure when a lot of you have been here, but a lot has changed since I got here in 2014. We've seen some tremendous growth, not only within our department, but within our facilities. We've had the ability to turf both our Red Dragon and all college fields for our soccer, field hockey, and lacrosse programs. We've had the opportunity to turf our baseball field. Any of you that saw the baseball field years ago, not being an alum of Oneonta, I actually played on that field a few times myself. And when you stood right field, you couldn't see your left fielder because of the crown on there, so that was a project that needed to be done. So we're very excited that was done, and our softball field was just done a couple of years ago. We've also had the ability to redo our arena floor, which is also due for another renovation here in the next couple of years. We've refurbished our tennis facility, and we're just kind of finishing up that project along with fitness centers and our J-Power weight room, which is in the docket to be redone here in the next couple of years as well. So a lot of wonderful things that are happening facility-wise, and once again, things that we can't do without the support of our administration and our facilities folk on campus. Just like a lot of you here, you succeed not only in your sport, but academically, and our student athletes here at Oneonta because of the support that they have within the program, the support from the faculty, and just the resources on campus. They continue to do really well above the 3.0 GPA, and many of them being inducted into Chi Alpha Sigma honor societies, being named Academic All-Americans, Scholar All-Americans, Scholars of the Year, and many other academic awards throughout the year because of the work that they put in to their academics. Obviously, in Division III, we are student athletes, so that is one of the big parts of it. They continue to support their communities, over 6,000 hours of community service. They raise over $5,000 for charities throughout the year and various events that they do. And a lot of these are student-led. We have a few of our student athletes that they oversee our Move for Love events, our Morgan's Message awareness events. We have a softball player the last couple of years who's kind of spearheaded the Gift of Life Chief Thoughts on campus, which has led to a number of matches, bone marrow matches, which is absolutely incredible. And those are things where the students are bringing those to our attention because those are important for them, and they want to support those events. And then we're here to just kind of be the vessel to get them to where they need to be. And then throughout the year, we also do a ton of fundraising. That's very important for us to be able to do the things that we need to do that maybe don't fit into our normal operating budget. But our teams are fundraising throughout the year. They do a lot of camps and clinics and bringing individuals and community members to campus to help support their programs. I hope you can all be a part of our, I think you'll see on your seats, we're going to have a big homecoming event over Mayor's Cup this coming year. Kind of continue to build that sense of pride at Oneonta. So we're hoping to get as many alums back, so we hope you all join us for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we also want to thank those of you that might have been a part of our 3 days of giving during the Powered by You campaign here at the end of April. That is something that we were able to work with the University Advancement to create, to generate dollars specifically for our athletic teams to be able to offset some of the costs, like I said before, so that they're able to travel around the country and play regionally and nationally ranked teams, because those are the experiences that we want to be able to give our student athletes. We generated over $35,000, and over 330 donors on that day. Many of you are in the room today, so we thank you for all of that. It takes a village to be able to support our students. And then also, there's a lot of other ways for our alums and those that support our department and other areas of campus to get involved with the different endowments that we have on campus. Our Alumni Fieldhouse one is one of the most important ones that we have because that allows us to have a lot of flexibility to support things within the Alumni Fieldhouse, such as locker rooms for our student athletes, the new fitness center that went in. We have brand new scoreboards and video boards and scorers tables that just went in over the past couple of years. And those things we can't do without those endowments, and that comes from support from all of you and our community. So we thank you and hope you can continue to be a part of that. Then lastly, athletically, we continue to achieve at a very high level. We've had a number of student athletes go to NCAAs and win individual conference championships, as well as our wrestling program won the first conference championship ever in the SUNY this past year. And that is a historical event. That's kudos to the work that our coaches put in every single day for their student athletes. But those things can't happen without the history that's in front of us right here. And the hard work that's been put, that our alums have put forth in their time here at Oneonta as student athletes. You're the ones that laid the groundwork. You've set the foundation and set the bar for our department, and we thank you for that. So at this point, I'm going to let our president come up and say a few words, but I personally just want to say thank you to all of you for all the work that you've put in, whether you realize the impact that you've had or not. It truly is significant, so thank you. But at this point, our university president, Dr. Alberto Carde, would like to come up and say a few words.
Thank you, Ryan. Good morning. You're athletic. Good morning. Thank you. As president, let me first, both as president and then on behalf of the entire university, it's a true honor to welcome you all to this year's Athletic Hall of Fame induction ceremony and to Alumni Weekend. Clearly, we gathered here for something that's very special. Not just the athletic achievements of those that we will honor and those that have supported our athletic program, but the spirit, and that's the spirit of excellence, resilience, teamwork that defines our overall athletic program. To our inductees, congratulations, well earned. Your accomplishments on the field, on the courts, and beyond are inspiring. But what we honor today is more than just a list of records and medals. We honor the legacy, a little bit of what Ryan was talking about, the legacy that you've created that allows us to build upon. The example that you have set for future generations of of Red Dragons. You've shown us what it means to compete with heart, to lead with integrity, and to push the limits of maybe what you thought was possible at the moment. Often balancing the demands of academics, leadership, and what many of us don't see, what's maybe happening in your individual lives. And that's important because athletics is a vital part of our campus and our academic culture. Athletics builds character, community, and pride. Athletics reminds us that learning doesn't just happen in the classroom, but it happens through perseverance, through teamwork, and through the pursuit of shared goals. And today we are proud to welcome you all as a new class to the Hall of Fame, a group of individuals who represent that, who represents the very best of SUNY Oneonta, both in your athletic experience and accomplishments, but also in your support for our athletics, and in the lives that you have led beyond just your playing. To the families, by the way, I love the outfits. You're gonna have to figure out how we can sell that. To the families, the teammates, the coaches, and friends who support our honorees along the way, thank you. We know that none of this really happens alone, and your presence here is a reminder that community, that the community that surrounds every great achievement needs to also be honored. We celebrate milestones, legacies, and we proudly add your name to the rich history, and the history that we will build upon of SUNY Oneonta Athletics. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Congratulations, and let's enjoy the event and enjoy the rest of the weekend if you can join us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Day. At this point, our MC, Jeff Hazard, and Jeff, if you don't know Jeff was our former sports information director for 23 years, and the one that kind of formulated our athletic Hall of Fame, and the reason that we have all those plaques in the alumni field house, and the reason that our group here is going to be inducted today. So I'm going to have Jeff come up here. He's going to kind of kick us off, and I'm going to get out of the way, Jeff. So here you go.
Thanks, Ryan. So this day for me, as everyone knows from the past, is just a glorious day for me. I just love coming back. I call this my month of Oneonta now because as I moved back to New England after I retired for about a year and a half, I retired, but it's just such a great day because we celebrate the excellence that is SUNY Oneonta. Just the heritage and the tradition and the legacies that we will talk about with some of these individuals, will live on forever, and that's what we celebrate today. And it's just such great to see faces that are familiar to me, and also this young guy that we'll talk to first in a couple of minutes. Certainly great to meet him and to get to know him. I know what I want to be when I grow up. I want to be this guy. So Dr. Kade stole my thunder. I was going to say I didn't wear my team uniform today. But thank you very much for showing up and showing. So, before we start the actual induction, I do like to take a moment, if you could join me with a moment of silence for those individuals, Hall of Famers, who have passed since the last time we've met. Thank you. So, where to begin? So this young guy right here had his 90th birthday last month. So, happy belated birthday. It seems like every time I was trying to get a hold of him, he's like walking or playing golf or whatever he was doing. So I'm like, geez, this guy's still got it going. So we are excited. Two-sport athlete, mid-50s to late 50s in the sports of basketball and baseball. Starter, team captain. He scored 700 points in basketball, and as you know, we play like almost twice as many games as we do back in that day, and to score 700 points is pretty amazing. And then as a freshman in baseball, you only hit over 400, so that was like nothing. And then has a career average of well over 370, and he batted cleanup. All right, so as you know anything about baseball, the cleanup guy is the guy that the guy that's depended on to be the guy that clears the bases, right? So, and he did that a lot of times. So, educator, administrator, superintendent, they named a building after him. And when we talk about legacies, a building, okay, so that's pretty special. This young man, we're going to bring him up here. Please help me welcome to our Athletic Hall of Fame, Mr. Len Gereau. So not too bad for a guy from a small town. Why don't you talk a little bit about how you found your way to Oneonta?
Well, first of all, is this a memory test?
Not a full memory test. You did tell me. Nick Lambros, where are you? You're in the house, right? Way back there, another legend, they played semi-pro baseball together. So this guy tells me the story about Doubleday Field, right? He hit 2 home runs in an inning.
Yeah, he's the only guy that remembers.
Yeah, so he remembers those details, right? So this is not a full memory test, all right? But
Yeah, my wife wonders why I can remember the details of a basketball game or a baseball game 7 years ago, but I forget to pick up 3 items at the grocery store.
so your trek here, how did you end up in Oneonta?
My high school coach and Dr. Hal Chase, who was a coach here in Oneonta, were in World War II together, and they were tank commanders in Germany, fighting in Germany. And the two of them got to be great friends and came back and graduated from Portland together, and just had that communication back in those days where Hal was constantly looking for athletes, so Arnold referred me to Oneonta, and that's how I got it.
So you talk about Hal Chase, right? Hall of Fame coach. And he used to go to summer camps, and he used to go to camps and listen to John Wooden, who, if you know who John Wooden is, and he used to come back with all kinds of ideas and plays for you guys. So how did that work?
Well, John Wooden kind of had a pretty good legacy himself at UCLA, I think it was. But Hal would go to these summer clinics with John Wooden and come back with all kinds of crazy plays and stuff that we had to immediately learn, and offense and defense, and he got into a so-called 2-platoon system back then, which was kind of unusual for that period of history, but which I didn't like, because I like to play the entire game, not just half of it. So, but Hal Chase was probably one of the greatest coaches at Oneonta in the entire state university system. He was really well respected, unbelievably fantastic individual, and helped me a great deal. Kind of a second father at Oneonta.
So you also tell me the story about, and I know Dick Bird tells me all the time, that you guys led the country in scoring one year, and then, you know, we almost like call you the run and gun and Red Dragons.
Yeah, it was kind of unusual, and it was on January 3rd, 1959. The Oneonta Star had a great headline in the sports section. Oneonta leads small colleges in the country in offense at 2 points per game. And that gave Oneonta a little national recognition, so much so that that was the very first time Dr. Netzer, the president of the college, brought us in for a little luncheon. And we thought that was pretty nice. So, but that's one moment in history that was, I'll never forget. And it helped Oneonta, I think. But, you know, on behalf of my teammates, we did that as a team. None of us did it as individuals. But we had an amazing team. And I did bring a gift that I would like to give to about that particular time. And this, we led the nation in small colleges, and this is from the Oneonta Star in 1959. Give this gift to the athletic department and president, and in particular, this great gentleman on my right. He's been fantastic to an old guy.
Young guy. I'm not even 2/3 of the way there. We will definitely find a nice spot for that. Thank you very much. When we talk about legacy, I just want to point out the young gentleman. Eli, could you stand up, please? This young gentleman's been accepted to SUNY Oneonta. He will start here in the freshman in the fall. Welcome to Oneonta. As you can see, this is an incredible group of people, and the stories you're going to hear today, you're going to be like, let's go. You're going to run through the wall for us. So, welcome and thank you. So, your life and education, how do you think Oneonta impacted that in your career?
It was basically the foundation of my educational experience. I was the first in my family history, which was not unusual to most families. I was the first to ever graduate from high school. And then when I'm first to go on to college, and first to graduate from college. So that was an achievement, but many others, students at that time, were going through the same thing I was. And there are so many of them that, you know, as I think back, many of them went on to do great things in their career. And I think that came about through both the academics there at Oneonta, as well as the athletics. So we learned from both areas for our careers. And I was fortunate in my career. Did a lot of different things.
Do you have anyone that you'd like to thank?
There are a lot of people I like to thank, but it really starts with my mother. My dad was not interested in athletics, but my mother was. She was a big Yankee fan. And back then, you know, you could only hear the Yankees on the radio if you're lucky. And so she taught me how to keep score correctly. And whenever she had time, she'd be able to read about the game from my scorecards. So that started when I was about 10 years old. But after that, when I got here, I got to thank not only Dr. Hal Chase, coach, but there was another gentleman in Oneonta named Elwin Chase, no relation to Coach Chase. He was director of the YMCA, and fortunately he was the director of the YMCA where I came from. So he gave me a lot of jobs because I needed jobs for work, and so the two of them were instrumental. But there were other people, you know, as there always are. You don't make it along, and you need help. And fortunately, I had lots of help. And it started, you know, my children who are here today, their mother was a lot of help. sorry. I also want to thank Dr. Bodie for nominating me. He's probably, he and Nick are probably the only two in the room that have ever seen me play. I want to thank Dr. Bodie for nominating me, and I want to thank the committee for taking a chance on all of that. So I appreciate everything, and thank you so much.
So now you can understand why I love this day. Just hearing the stories, even if it's 70 years ago. It just seems like it's yesterday for all of us and for most of them. So, we have another young lady here, Dr. Jennifer Bueche. Every campus in America needs a Dr. Jennifer Bueche on their campus. Not just because they're wonderful people, but because they are such an advocate for the students and the experience that happens every day on their campus. When she came into the athletics department as our faculty athletics rep and on the intercollegiate athletics board, we just saw things start to change. She brought ideas, she brought energy, she just brought a lot of things that helped us move forward in the areas of academics, nutrition, health and wellness, right? These are novel concepts, but they were coming. And Dr. Bueche kept us like on the leading edge of that. A lot of the programs that she developed, like our academic game plan, was at the NCAA conference, right? We went there, and so it was national. People at the national conference could see what Oneonta was doing to help our students academically to prepare them for life after graduation, okay? And this woman right here was so responsible for so much of that. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Jennifer Bueche to our graduation. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And you are enjoying retirement.
Oh, I'm loving retirement.
So why athletics? Why did you, as a faculty member, a lot of faculty people they don't want anything to do. So what about it for you made you want to be involved in athletics?
Tracy Ranieri. Yeah. When she approached me, I thought, oh, are you sure? I was so taken aback. And then when I read the job description, I said, oh, sure, that's a big job. Are you sure? But, she's very convincing.
Yes, she is.
And I just loved what she was doing in athletics. And I thought, you know what, I certainly can advocate for students. And I know a lot about nutrition, so I could certainly do something there. And I just was refreshing to get out of the academic side from the perspective of being a professor and get to really spend time with students outside the classroom. And that was a huge joy. And so I really appreciate the relationships that I developed, especially with the coaches and athletics administration. I was very welcomed, and they made it easy. So, yes, it was a lot of fun.
What are some of the things that you're most proud of during your time? Some of the programs that you think you developed?
I think the academic game plan, I think that was just, it was a tool, but it was a conversation starter. And it was really about accountability and making sure that, coaches were having these conversations with students, athletes, for a very long time. But it was just, kind of making it more formalized and really making sure that the faculty could see the amount of hard work that was happening. So many student athletes, when you ask them, especially when they first came to the college, who their academic advisor was, they didn't know. And maybe they didn't know after the first semester either, which probably isn't such a good thing, but we really tried to work on that. But they were getting a lot of that encouragement and support from the coach and then their teammates, and I think that was really awesome.
So in the area of nutrition, because again, you know, it was something that was out there and it was starting to come. Like, why did you see that as an important aspect? Because we all know that nutrition for performance, you can't perform unless you're, you know, well fueled and
Right.
know what you're eating and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I really felt like if we had students that are in a dietetics program, then they need to be able to put a voice to what they're learning and to be able to get that experience outside their classroom. And that experiential learning is a big deal. But it was important to me that they be able to partner with student athletes and teams to be able to get the best results, because there would be so many times when I was the campus dietitian, I would be speaking to student athletes, especially women, and they would be under eating. I'm thinking, shoot, if you are running that many miles, give me an ice cream cone for God's sakes. I mean, really, it's just crazy that you are so worried about your calories or, you know, worried about not eating as healthy, and then you wonder why you really can't get to that next level. So I think there's a lot of misinformation, right? Gosh, we have $1 billion supplement company that just sells a lot of garbage. But I think it's really important for student athletes to understand that if you don't fuel your body, you cannot expect it to do what you need to do.
And you were also instrumental in securing a couple of NCAA grants for us, which actually helped us formulate the O-Pros, right? Which lives on. We want to talk about legacy. This is something that continues to grow. Daphne, can you raise your hand? Daphne Thompson now is in charge of that. And it just keeps growing. People just keeps growing and getting better. And it's really a peer mentorship, teaching alcohol education. So talk about why that's important.
Well, I think that students really are far more knowledgeable than they think they are, right? And so with a little support, they are the best mentors for each other, and especially for freshmen. And I've seen at the latter part of my career, you have freshmen coming in that it's a very different generation than certainly my generation. I mean, you can really see the gap. And COVID certainly didn't help, right? And I think that they just need to be able to be supported and encouraged and to be leaders. I think the wonderful thing about student athletes is they already, many of them possess all of those character attributes that you want other students to have, right? And so I just think that being able to get dietetics students out there working with student athletes, that was a huge affirmation for dietetics, really increased their confidence. And many of our students actually went out and became entrepreneurs and ended up with their own consulting businesses. And they didn't end up going into hospitals and clinical dietitians like I did, because they didn't want to work with sick people. They want to work with healthy and preventative nutrition.
Is there anyone that you would like to thank?
Well, I have my best friend here, my husband Mark. He went to Delphi and I came to Oneonta. So that's how that worked. Right from that, we rode back and forth. Yeah, he supported me 100% plus for my career, and we certainly have two wonderful boys, and all of a sudden blessings of grandchildren, 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and so I'm loving being grandma. But I'm especially appreciative of the administration here, who is incredibly supportive of the FAR role, and the athletic director, Tracy, at the time, certainly made the job, real joy. And that wasn't true across SUNY, because there were other FARs that felt that their job should be more adversarial. And I thought that's not my job. And then Ryan Hooper, I think, it's just incredible in terms of continuing this legacy. So I'm just grateful for the people that I was around.
Congratulations once again. Thank you both. Samantha Szkotak, women's basketball player, 4-year starter. certainly one of our all-time greats, 1,000-point scorer, 600 rebounds. I mean, stats, right? Just a presence on the floor. You could tell, who the leaders were at all times on the floor. She played with some great players. So again, she'll probably talk a little bit about her teammates, who some of them are here. Big shout out, thank you for coming. But just someone, along with Madison Slagle, where are you, Madison? I think I saw you right in here behind us. Kind of paired up, like a little dynamic duo. One could play outside, and the other one could play around the basket, but Sam could still step back and drain a three every now and then. So still one of our all-time leaders in a lot of statistical categories. It was a joy to watch her play. All those teams there kept building and building and building, and we finally got over the hump her senior year, winning the SUNY championship. She was the tournament MVP. She had a double-double, which is probably an average game for her, I know. But she just was incredible. So please join me in welcoming Samantha Szkotak to the athletic. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And welcome back to campus.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Things have changed.
Sure.
Field house is still there, so
It is.
the gym didn't go.
Nope.
Just talk about your journey to Oneonta.
Well, Daphne was very persistent. She played a lot of games. And Madison and I were very big rivals in high school. I found out Madison was coming here, and I instantly was like, and I'm not going there. And I liked it so much, I came and did my overnight and instantly fell in love with campus, the downtown life, and I knew then and there, this is where I wanted to be. So I sucked it up, and it turned out great because Madison became one of my best friends still to this day.
We won't talk too much about the downtown life. We know it's.
Yeah.
So, as a freshman, you came in.
Yeah.
And just another note, she's one of only 3 players in program history to be a 3-time first team all-conference player as well. Did you think as a freshman that maybe you were onto something? I mean, with this team and your teammates, you were playing with some upperclassmen. How did that all go?
Well, as what Daphne said to me last night, if I played a little bit better my freshman year, I would have been higher on the scoring. So freshman year was rough. There was a lot of times I called my parents and I was like, I'm just coming home, can't do this. But I had great seniors. They're over there. One is actually my sister-in-law and married my brother. Have the 3 kids over there. But they made freshman year phenomenal. It was a place that they encourage you to grow, be yourself. We supported each other on the court, and we just kept growing. And like you said, we got better and better each year, and we always got close to winning. We should have won games. I blame the refs on a lot of that. But finally, like you said, senior year, we got where we wanted.
Was there a point in that senior year you thought that you could, because you had to go on the road to Buffalo State to win the tournament, which is always tough to win anywhere else besides Oneonta. So was there a point in that season, did you think that the team had a shot?
Yes, I think preseason, Maddie and I, along with our other senior, Ashley, we sat and we said, this is our year. We've worked way too hard, we've done too much, we need to do this. And we had some tough losses. I remember specifically our senior night against New Falls, and it hurt, and I said, we're gonna win. We have to win, and that game, there was no doubt that we were gonna win that game. We knew it.
So as far as your overall academic experience or whatever, like you said, as you grew as a freshman, I mean, can you talk a little bit about, how that grew as well?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know what I wanted to do, jumped around, I started an education, didn't want to do that, actually sat and I was Eileen over here, and we decided, you know what, I think I'm gonna go into psych. And so I worked in psych, I graduated with psych, worked in psych, and then still, as an adult, I don't know what I want to do with my life. So I jumped from psych, and now I work in HR. So really just took a turn from that too.
So what can you say about your Oneonta experience?
everything. I think the Oneonta, the support that we've gotten from the community, we get a lot of community, the support we've gotten from our coaching staff, the professors. It was just a team. Everything was a team, and I think I carry that into what I do now. It just helped me grow.
And is there anyone that you would like to thank?
Yes, all of my crew that's been here, that's followed me from high school,
Can you
college.
stand up? Go ahead, stand up, come on.
All of my crew.
Yes, wow, what a crew.
My parents who never missed a game. It didn't matter if they were flying on a plane, if they were driving in snowstorms, they came to every single game. My brother who pushed me to be better, made me be better, told me when I wasn't good. So everybody that came today to celebrate me, I appreciate it, and couldn't be here without you guys.
Well, congratulations once again.
Thank you.
So my vivid memory of Mike Lauer is, so he played goal, all right? And as you know, right, they're the protector of, and everybody knows who the goalie is because when somebody scores a goal, everybody's looking at the goalie. So this guy right here from day one was legit. And he took control of the goal, and he wasn't going to let anybody get too many by him. And it shows in his statistics with a goals against average under 10, which is hard to do in men's lacrosse, very hard, and a save percentage of over 60%, so that's pretty crazy. But so my vivid memory of him is he gets the ball, makes a save, and he's behind the goal, and he's kind of hanging out a little bit. Well, he decides to go. And he goes past midfield. And now you're like, what's going to happen? This is a big game. It's against Potsdam, and we're like, game is close. And so what does he do? He scores a goal. The place was electric. I remember my youngest son, Gunnar, who might have been like 4 at the time, he was with me at the game, and he's jumping up and down. And we were a man down. So that means it's even more impressive. But it was such an incredible moment. But those are the kind of moments that I got to witness over my time here. And it just, I keep rolling it back in my mind, some of these memories that are just incredible. We ended up winning that game in overtime, I believe. 3 overtimes. So that's pretty impressive that he was able to do that, just go end to end. You don't see any goalies doing that. So, I mean, Mike Lauer, incredible player, incredible 2-time All-American, 4-time All-Conference, still near the top in a lot of our career and season statistics. Kind of followed John Pufke, who we inducted, years ago, whatever. So those, when we talk about goalies in the history of Oneonta Lacrosse, it's John Pufke and Mike Lauer. I mean, those are the 2 guys. And oddly enough, they both have 40 wins each, so they're both same as, same, but still 2 great players. And this guy right here was certainly an electric player at goal, from the goal position, okay? It's tough to do that when you're in the goal, because you're getting beaten on all the time with this ball. So please join me in welcoming Mike Lauer to our conference. How you doing?
Good.
Good.
Glad to be here.
Oh, I'm glad you're here. So transition, you come in as a freshman, and really the weight of the world kind of is put on your shoulders, saying you're the guy in goal. And so, how was that as a freshman?
Looking back, it was incredible. At the moment, I didn't have a clue. I was a 17-year-old kid, hours away from home. Didn't know anybody on the team yet. I actually was rooming in a dorm by myself. Most incoming freshman athletes room together. I didn't, so I didn't know anybody when fall season started and we started. And by the end of the first couple of weeks, I had been clearly named the starter, and I didn't even have a clue how important that was at the time. They were still making me carry the ball bag. But I mean, going back, it was incredible. incredible. There's a lot of pressure from the head coach to be successful and to work. Like many others here, there was a lot of days where I didn't want to do it anymore. I remember going into the meal halls after training and, sitting at the table crying, like, I can't do this. And one of my teammates said this year, he's one of the reasons why I stayed. But I had no clue what I had gotten myself into at that point. I just knew I'd just stand in the goal and get in the way.
And you got away a lot, so that's good. So that evolutionary process of becoming a freshman, and now you're starting to grow, you're two-year team captain, right, as a junior and a senior. So certainly that process, take us through that, to be able to be called captain of the Lacrosse.
One of the things is in a position like that, like you said, everybody knows when you get screwed up. In order to stand in there, it's a very, very difficult position. That ball hurts, there's a lot of pressure on the line. So you either had to work incredibly hard not to let your teammates down and be successful, and that's where it started when I started realizing when you come out of high school, you're the big fish. When you get here and you're a 17-year-old boy and grown men are throwing the ball at you 100+ miles an hour, you have to grow up real fast. So I just realized that these guys were all counting on me, and there was no other goaltender. The other guy who had started the year before quit when he lost his job. He was a senior that lost his job to a freshman. He quit. We didn't have a backup. So it was there wasn't much choice but to grow up and, started working, started hanging out with the people who were doing extra work, working on my craft, continuing to work in the off-season weight training, and then that all kind of grew as we got more and more people to jump on board with that stuff. So the reasons that I got elected captain as a junior was because of all the things that I did behind closed doors. I mean, you don't get to be, anybody sitting up here knows that we didn't get to be Hall of Famers from practice from 2 to 4. It's a lot of work outside of that. And when your teammates start to see and realize that, they voted me in as a captain.
So, and you also, as we, talked, I just want to say, so every year we do full, 30-minute interviews on Zoom. Hey, Zoom, right? Thank you, COVID. So I encourage you to go to our website and listen to them. They're all incredible, 30 minutes of just kind of more relaxed and just trying to get to know them a little bit better on our website, so I do encourage you to do that. And as we talked, you felt that because you had to work so hard on the field, you felt that it also led to gains off the field academically.
Yeah, it certainly did. Again, as a high schooler, I was a typical boy. I did the very minimum. I did what I needed to do to stay academically eligible so that I could play sports. And that was it. And actually, one of the women responsible for my academic turnaround is sitting in the front row. Dr. Jennifer Bueche was my academic advisor. I took an intro to nutrition class with her, and is the reason that I switched into a dietetics major. So when you started coupling, it becomes more of an attitude and a lifestyle. Like once we started being successful somewhere, you had to be successful everywhere. So yeah, I started working harder in the classroom. I ended up with, I think, almost a 3.9 inside my major, which was, for me, a pretty big deal. Dietetics is a tough major to go into. And it wasn't easy. I was the only boy. I was the only male that is not highly male-driven. I was me and 11 or 12 women every morning in a class. And, I didn't necessarily fit in, but I did all the work that I could. And by the time I graduated, there was a bunch of field hockey girls, and they all got highlighters out, and they got multiple notebooks, and I was sleeping in the back. By the time I graduated, all those girls were hunting me down in the library, like, how do we study for this test? Because some of those advanced nutrition and human metabolism is a very difficult course to pass. It's 2 semesters, it's brutal. But yeah, so the work ethic, kind of that I needed to show in order to survive on the field kept me alive in academics. It's also why I'm successful today.
Right, as a business owner. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I own a home improvements company. I remodel homes, and I'm fortunate enough we have grown to be one of the top remodelers in our area. North Carolina, yeah, unfortunately we're right in the Hurricane Helene path, so we have been decimated by that. We've had to rebuild houses, and I've had, friends lose houses and roofs coming off and repairing houses that have trees dropped all through them. So it's been sort of a blessing for somebody like me because we've had tons of work, but it's been, but yeah, we're successful now. The business has been going for several years, and, people see the success, but they don't realize how many years of from being on a college campus, because weight training starts at 6 a.m. I got class at 8, we're doing something else after lunch, practices at 4, or we're traveling for games. I mean, it's regularly 14, 16-hour days. Finals time comes around and we're swing sports, so we are playing conference tournaments finals week, and you don't really, you still gotta get it done.
Anyone that you would like to thank?
Sure, my mom, obviously, she's here today.
Mom, can you stand up?
Grew up in a single-parent household with 4 children, so very difficult to make sure everybody had sporting equipment, and lacrosse is not a cheap sport. We go through several of those sticks a season, and they're a couple $100 a piece, and helmets and gloves and arm pads and all this stuff, and you know, she's one of the reasons why I filed to go to college, one of the reasons I was helping getting recruited. She came up for as many games as she possibly could. We're 4 hours away. I mean, I remember her driving 6 hours to go to Portland to watch a conference game and turning around and driving 6 hours to go home. So yeah, my mom, Seth is still here. He's one of the reasons I survived freshman year. That's it, mom.
Everyone, mom, right? Congratulations, mom. We all have great moms, don't we? Our next gentleman, here we are, almost a quarter century later, right? And he still is the all-time career wins leader in tennis. We haven't inducted many tennis players, but this guy right here has been at the top of the list for a long time. It's tough, you know, records, yeah, they're made to be broken, and eventually they do. But 25 years is a long time, and we've had some pretty good players since that time, and some good teams. 2-time ITA quarterfinalist, so if you know anything about the ITAs, you know, you just don't bring somebody to play. I mean, you gotta be a player. And this guy was our #1 singles, doubles player right from the get-go, all right, as soon as he stepped on the court. So to be a 2-time quarterfinalist against the private schools, right, we all talk about the Middleburys and the, you know, the Nescaks, and here's this guy showing up from Oneonta and beating him. So that was pretty special stuff. Now, I just got here when he was kind of a senior, so I didn't get a chance to really, you know, enjoy the entire experience for Justin, but I do know that he was certainly a special player and a team captain and just a leader for our program. And he has gone on, successful boys and girls tennis coach at the high school level, 6 league titles, 3-time county coach of the year. I mean, so so we talk about legacies, right? Your legacy here is reconnected. You know, his legacy is Oneonta gave me the ability to go out and do what I love to do, okay? So please join me in welcoming Justin Firenze to our Athletic Hall of Fame. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So you're here with your wonderful family, beautiful. Tell us about your journey to Oneonta.
Well, I knew I wanted to always be a teacher because I always wanted to go back and coach high school sports. So my mom was a phys ed teacher growing up, and so we directed us to Oneonta. It was known as the teaching school for us people who grew up on Long Island, and came up, met Coach Baker one afternoon, went home, told my mom, that's where I'm going. I only applied to one school.
Well, thankfully it was Oneonta. Talk about your, freshman year. I mean, you step on the court and you're automatically the #1 guy. I mean, you're the guy that people are dependent on to win that tough match.
Yeah, it was an opportunity that I enjoyed. I liked embracing that. You know, I bounced around between first and third singles my first semester, and then realized the importance of hitting the weights in the weight room, and the nutritional aspect is definitely big. I'm trying to sell that to my kids now with their sports. But yeah, I embraced it. I wanted that responsibility. I wanted that pressure. I loved it. I thrived on it.
That's why you're Hall of Fame. So our teams, you know, Jim Baker didn't shy away from competition. I mean, we played all those teams, and we won over 80% of our matches, which is pretty incredible. So talk about some of your teammates and some of those teams, and maybe a memory or two of maybe some big matches for you.
A lot of my core memories come from our southern trips, when we really got to play the nationally ranked teams that are around in the Division II schools, and I really loved the competition there. My biggest win was against Binghamton. Their first singles player was ranked number 5 in the country, I think, at that time. And he walked out on the court thinking he was going to wipe the floor with me. And I went out there and I took him down in straight sets, and I was pretty amazed. He went storming off on his car after the match was done. So I like the opportunity to play the tougher competition a lot.
Your coach, Jim Baker, I do want to spend a little time talking
Sure,
about
yeah.
Jim. Jim recently passed this past winter, and certainly as a young person who just came to Oneonta, you know, in 1999, Jim Baker would be in his office, always smiling and always welcoming me. Like, the only association I really had with him was as a tennis coach, so I had to make sure I knew what his scores were and stuff like that. But his door was always open for anyone that wanted to walk in. And you and I were talking, it was like the Jim Baker, like these wisdom things, you know, like he would talk to you and he would say things in a nice tone, you know, nice, and then you'd walk away and you'd be like, oh yeah, he's right. Like,
Yeah,
so talk about him.
he was so positive and motivating, and he loved puzzles. So you could see him strategizing in his head the entire time, and little things that he would say that would hit you later. And you go, oh my gosh, he was really talking about this, not that. And he was great at just deflating situations, tensions. He's just so positive, and just kept you focused. And it's very family oriented. We would go to his kids' high school football games and hang out with them. He just really made the team, especially being a smaller team, being a tennis team, very family oriented. And his door was open for us all the time, whether it was a crack a quick joke or a shoulder to cry on or anything you needed. He was always there for us.
So when you're coaching now, do you ever, in the back of your mind, like if there's a situation that might be tense on the court, do you like, what would Jim do?
Oh yeah, absolutely. He would come to talk to us while we were playing our tough matches, and we talked between changeovers. It had nothing to do with tennis. What do we have for dinner tonight? What restaurant do you want to go to? Just to ease the tension. He just kind of knew what buttons to push, and I like to think that I kind of do that with my tennis teams as well. I can kind of just sense what they need at that time, and hopefully I can provide the opportunity for them to be successful with it.
So is there anybody that you would like to thank?
Oh, sure, yeah, my mom right away. I'll get crying too. Single mother, raised us on our own, responsible. I tell everybody all the time, she's my idol. She's the person I am today. And then, of course, my family, which is great to have the support for after this, and all my coaching endeavors that I've gone through for over the past 20 years. I really appreciate all your support.
Well, congratulations once again.
Thank you very much.
Having fun? This is awesome. Awesome. So, next on our list. So, Coach Velan, you're in the house, right? Where are you? There you are, right up here in front. So, when he took over the softball team, you know, it needed some work. And it needed some players. And certainly our next inductee was part of that first group of players that helped us go on a run for about 15 years where we would win 25, 30, 35 games a year, which is amazing in softball. Because you only sometimes, well, in the Northeast, you hopefully can play 40, but that's all you can play. So this individual was a top player, starter in the outfield, chasing down balls, and leading our team to the NYSWCAA, which is no longer around, but championship. She was the MVP of the tournament in 1994. She hit over 400 her senior year. She hit 6 home runs as a senior, which stood for almost 20 years, which again is amazing, but that's just an incredible accomplishment for someone who Flu says that she was an athlete. Okay, so when you're building teams, right? When you're building teams, you need to find athletes, and Flu always seemed to find athletes. If you've watched the history of our softball program, every one of them could probably play multiple sports. So please join me in welcoming to the Hall of Fame, Michelle Hartney Olive. So, you're a professional geologist. So I tried to look back at all of our inductees for the last 25 years. I believe that you are the only geologist that we've ever inducted. So tell us about that journey, because we talked about it.
Yes.
You just, right away, you loved it.
I knew I wanted to do something with science. I didn't know what. I took an intro to geology class and I fell in love with it. And I was like, I have to pick something. It was my second semester of sophomore year. I ran out of core courses to take. So I was like, let's just try that. And I really liked it.
So how did you think that your softball experience, talk a little bit about that. I mean, certainly, Flew, he found players and, he kind of let you play.
He did let me play. Thank goodness he let me. I was walk-on. I wasn't even part of the team in the fall because I didn't know we had a team. And I saw a sign in the Chase looking for players, and I showed up one day by myself, didn't know anybody, and made the team. There was only 3 freshmen that year, and he let me start. He took me under his wing, and
Well, I don't think you flew a hard time because he says he always was out there looking for players. And she shows up, and she's a Hall of Famer.
he was looking for players. That's why the flyer was there.
I'm talking about out on the road, out in the gym. So, why don't you talk a little bit about how the overlap, because you certainly had quite an accomplished academic career as a student athlete. You were definitely, high on both. So, how do you think those both complemented your experience there?
You had to be well organized. There was a lot of dedication to softball, but also to the academics. I wanted to succeed in both. And I also had to find time to hang out with my friends. So you had to be pretty organized to fit it all in.
Are there any big games, moments that you think were, standouts for you as your senior year certainly was, you saved your best for last.
Yes. Yes. Hitting the home run to go ahead over Binghamton to win the tournament.
Pretty incredible.
Yes.
So as you are retired recently, and you live out in the middle of the country.
Yes, in Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Rogers, Fayetteville area.
Yeah. How's that been?
Fantastic. We only moved there 6 months ago. My husband retired in February, and our kids are grown and flown, and so now we're getting to spend time doing what we love doing.
Grew up in Oneonta, right?
My husband, yes.
Yes, Oneonta guy. So, anything about your experience that you think, because you were worked in geology your whole life, what about the Oneonta experience helped you professionally?
It gave me the tools to take into the world, into the working world, the professional world, and softball definitely working with teammates and how to interact with clients. The cumulative experiences of both academics as well as sports helped me achieve those goals.
Is there anyone that you would like to thank?
Well, of course, Coach Blue and Coach Firenze, definitely for taking a chance on me and letting me start for the 4 years and sticking with me through my junior year, which was rough. So I definitely appreciate that.
Well, congratulations once again, and welcome to the Hall of Fame. here in Oneonta, we tend to do things in pairs, you know, brothers, sisters, you know, they all kind of come here and enjoy an outstanding athletic, you know, time here. And so our next inductee is part of that. Her sister, Mary, was inducted a couple of years ago, who was a multi-All-American in the sport of soccer, and she also ran track, and she was pretty amazing as well. But Rose is probably most responsible. I'm going to say, I know Brooke scored the goal in the national championship game, but she probably made the single most important play ever when she put that ball down and just said, run to the goal, and she put it in front, and you know, the rest is history, right? National championship. That was just an incredible, screaming fans. It was remarkable. I mean, you want to talk about electricity in a small venue, great. It was awesome. So Mary and Rose joined a couple other sister duos that we've inducted and a couple of brothers, swimmers from back in the 70s. But national champion, All-American in track and field, first in the indoor track and field. We just added track and field. A lot of athletes did both two sports, multiple sports, and certainly, you know, Matt LaPiccolo put together a foursome to go out to, you know, to compete at the NCAAs and the DMR, and came home with All-Americans. I mean, it's just amazing, some of the accomplishments, but again, just that the athletic athletes and what they can accomplish, you know, when they get the right coaching and the right determination. And certainly, this individual is quite determined. She is a successful educator right now. She's a principal of a middle school. I mean, she's already on the ladder, and you know, maybe I think they'll name a building after her. I don't know if they will, but it would be pretty special, wouldn't it? So please help me welcome Rose Velan Beckett to the Congratulations. So, we're also going to talk to another national champion with Sean at the end here, but talk about being a national champion and what you think that how that transformed what you're doing and how you kind of progress through your daily activity.
It's pretty amazing. I think Dave and Tracy certainly knew the vision before we knew the vision. You know, and I'll never forget, you know, after that game, there's only one team that entered the ring. You know, and we had the opportunity to do that. And I think for us, it's that continuous drive to constantly be better, work through challenges, overcome obstacles, persist through whatever it takes, and to accomplish that. I mean, that's every part of who I am today.
So, you know, walk us through that last minute of that championship game. And I mean, how did you even think I got to do this? Like, what was going through your mind when you placed that ball down and thinking, oh my God, time is running out?
Well, really, the year before, we flew out to Chicago and lost 5-0.
It was quite cold.
So when we knew, oh boy, you know, we're up against Chicago again, they destroyed us the year prior. So there's a minute left, 29 seconds left. They're already celebrating. We're down 1-0. They thought they won. And Amanda LaPola trips, falls, you know, we have a direct kick, and it's at the half field. Sarah Tower is who always takes our kicks, wasn't anywhere close. And I looked around and I thought, this is it, there's no other option. And I think that's that feeling that Dave and Tracy instilled in us, that you're never done, you can keep going when you think that you can't. You know, there's always more there. So I put it down, I kicked it further than I think I ever have. I think something was carrying that ball for me. You know, and it went right to Brooke's head, and she put it in, and that was it. We tied the game and went into overtime, so it was pretty awesome.
So what point in that season did you feel like the team really had a chance to win it all? Was there a moment?
You know, it's really, for us, winning was winning the culture and the chemistry of our team. And I think Dave and Tracy helped us understand that once you have that, anything is possible. You know, and we were flawless. I mean, we had the chemistry, we had the people, we had the drive, we did everything together from our 5 a.m. workouts to our study sessions in the evening, and you know, we were together all the time, and the entire community came together. You know, and I think that that's something that I carry with me now in education of, it takes a village, you know, and it takes everybody between you on the sidelines with your children, and Dr. Perry and Dr. Angersall, and, you know, everybody was there, you know, and I think it's just, you know, it's a pretty amazing thing, and we knew after every single game, after every single pep talk, after every challenge Dave and Tracy put before us, that this is possible and we can do it.
So how do you carry that over to, you know, what you're doing now? I mean, certainly being a middle school principal is not easy. It's challenging. So how do you use some of those lessons to, you know, do what you do?
I do it every day, you know, and I think there's no ceiling. You know, Dave and Tracy instilled in us that there's no end. You keep going, you keep pushing beyond limits you ever thought were possible. And I love what I do. You know, I think that when you know that no matter what you're going to keep, I never thought I would have to do where I am today, ever. But you just keep doing the things you love, and I think when there's passion and there's purpose, everything comes into place, and people gravitate to you. You know, and I'm here today not because of me, but because of all the teammates, all the coaches, everything that came together that built that tribe, you know, that who we are, yourself included, you know, that they got us to the point we are. You know, and I think in education, with the students I work with the families that I work with my own personal family, it takes everyone, you know, and I love that for them.
What about your overall experience, you know, being at Oneonta? You grew up locally, pretty close nearby. So coming here, almost like the hometown team, you know, what did that mean to you to be able to play for Oneonta?
Dave and I were just talking about it, rehashing the story on the way here. And my family was in a unique situation. I went to high school up in Chazy, north of Plattsburgh. And I had no clue where I wanted to go. And college coaches are not going up there. You know, we didn't have club teams. We didn't have any of that. And my father made a video, and I was mortified. I'm like, you can't send that video out. What are you doing? And of course, it got in the hands of Dave and Tracy, and Dave's like, we need you to come to this recruiting visit. And at the time, I didn't know much about Oneonta. I didn't know that this was a place that I would fall in love with. But as soon as I stepped foot on the campus, met Dave and Tracy, met the players on the team, it was instant. I loved it. And then my family just happened to move from Chazy to Stanford right after I graduated high school. So I had them in my backyard, and they were in everything. So it was pretty awesome, including my younger sister, who then followed here after.
What was that like, being able to be like the role model, you know what I mean, to get her to come here and enjoy the same experiences as you?
She was my role model, you know, so it was interesting. You know, she's my little sister, but she was also this phenomenal athlete, you know, and superstar. And when I found out she was interested in wanting to come to Oneonta after being recruited by several Division I schools, top-notch, top-of-the-line schools, and she chose here. And I was honored because now this Velan family can carry on the tradition, and to have a Velan here for 8 consecutive years was pretty awesome.
Anyone you'd like to thank?
Yes, certainly the college. You know, I think Dr. Carday, Mr. Hooper, Jeff, you've been amazing. Dave and Tracy, Matt LaPiccolo, my parents. They're everything. They gave me everything I've had. I'm here because of them. My husband's pretty awesome. And Dave and Tracy never let us date or leave our circle. They would, every single guy any of us dated had to be run by Dave. Every single one of them. But they were our parents. You know, they did everything for us. They did everything. They're a part of my life forever. I'm thankful for my teammates, Loie, Amy, so many that are here. You know, it's been remarkable, and I think for my kids, being a college athlete is the greatest gift anybody's gonna have. And I wish that for everybody, because it builds who you are, it makes you successful in life, and it gives you those life skills you don't get any of. So
Congratulations.
Really,
Yeah. Thank you. Congratulations. So, this guy right here, if you read his bio in the program, I had I had to use smaller fonts so I could try and fit it all in. It's just, I mean, when we think track and field here, there's really a couple of guys. And this gentleman right here is definitely one. He's in a small class, I don't even know if it's a handful of athletes who have ever competed in any sport here of what he has accomplished. National championships, All-Americans, conference titles, you know, all region this, all region that. I mean, it's National Athlete of the Year his senior year after he won a national title in the 200 and then the 4x1. I mean, watching him run was like watching someone being shot out of a cannon. Like, I know now why. I mean, the 100, you probably say what, the 200 might be your best, and I could tell that. I ran track in high school, so I have a little bit of knowledge of track. But when you watched him run the 100 and then watched him run the 200, his top speed by about 150 yards or meters was, he was out, and you couldn't catch him. So, I mean, clearly, just watching him, I mean, I remember watching the video of the 4x1, and you ran the second leg. And I don't even know if we were almost near the end, I think, or something. I mean, was it like in the middle? And all of a sudden, Sean gets the baton, and now we're winning. I mean, it was just watching him just fly by athletes. Certainly a special individual, and recently graduated from law school, so another accolade to add to his credentials. You know, please join me in welcoming truly one of the best athletes we've ever had, Sean Bernstein. Congratulations. So, now you're a Hall of Famer, and but the road there was, you probably wouldn't say it was smooth. You know, let's talk about the first couple of years, and then maybe we can get into this. All of a sudden, you know, junior year was like somebody just flipped a switch. So why don't you talk about that?
So, coming out of high school, I was okay. I was a decent athlete, recruited by A.M.A. Dawson, came here my freshman year. I think I got 4th, 5th in few events. It's okay. A lot of injuries. Joe Reed still teases me about, you know, both my hamstrings again and again and again. And then the summer after my sophomore year, going into my junior year, really just he turned the corner of commitment and training, and changed the way I ran a little bit.
So did you feel that switch?
I did. I think a lot was kind of a natural maturation process of really buying into training, buying into the time commitment on and off the track, really listening to the coaches that Joe was having to do, and you know, I think you could see those kind of building blocks start to grow.
Because now, you know, in the early years, kind of in that, you know, Joe Reed certainly multi-conference, you know, he's same kind of credentials almost, but so did you feel like, as someone having someone like that as a coach, I mean, do you think that that would add a legitimacy to what he was trying to tell you?
It absolutely did. I think because he had that resume, and he said, we're going to do X, Y, Z practice, it's just naturally, well, if you're telling me to do this, clearly you know what you're doing, sounds good.
So your first national title, you know, you had your big Thurgood, Thurgood
Dennis.
Yes, Thurgood Dennis. Every year I'd be looking, I'm looking, and I'm seeing who else is his competition. And it was the same two guys at the top, 100, 200. And what a battle. What was that like, having someone who actually, at that level, you knew that was going to be someone that was going to push you to do that?
It was, we were rivals, but it was a very, I think, friendly rivalry. And, you know, I always like to make a joke, sounds terrible, but at those big meets, I think him and I kind of always knew in the 100, 200, 60, it was
him or it was me. We both kind of knew that, so at that level, it was just that head-to-head competition that always made things a little more interesting.
It's one of the most incredible photos etched in my mind is crossing the finish line in the 200, and you're looking beside you to see if Thurgood is behind you because you had just won again. I mean, just that feeling again, being a national champion. Like, what do you think? How do you think that set the table for what you're doing? Obviously, going to be a lawyer. You know what I mean? I mean, how do you think that set you up for that?
I think really it was everything that goes into getting to that point is what really set me up for the rest of my life and where I am now. Just the level of commitment and buy-in and dedication from having good seasons, bad seasons, good days, bad days. Days where you just really want to be there. You take that day off. They're good to out there training. I think that level of commitment is really satisfying.
So, who would you like to?
First and foremost, my lovely parents who I don't think missed a single track meet. Even when there was sort of kind of injured, you really do not need to come to me. I'm probably not going to be great. They still came, and I thank them enough. My lovely wife, standing over there, my two beautiful children, one beautiful child, and I know my mother, and I do have to thank Joey. He was just such a instrumental part of what I was able to accomplish and the person I was able to become. I will say he was the one when I knew I wanted to eventually go to coaching, said I should go to graduate school, I should get a master's degree. I listened to him. I ended up going to San Jose State, where luck would have it, and then my love was on. So he gets a little bit of credit for that. It all worked out.
So we helped you a lot.
And of course, Tracy Mayer. If not, she was, I think, a huge aspect in just the administration as a whole, support, community, and everyone coming together.
It's quite a run there, that time. I mean, we had some incredible athletes, and we still do. But just as far as you guys were we were the ones that finally really started to break through. It was Joe and you and now Velan, but they were kind of set the standard, right? What is that? I mean, so you set the standard, and is that, do you still keep your eye on track and field? And
I do a little bit. Hopefully there'll be something coming up, and I'd love to see some of the records.
Well, it's pretty tough, because those records are pretty fast. I think I would need a car. But once again, congratulations, Sean. So at this time, we're going to bring each one of our inductees up one by one so that we can unveil their plaques. So we're going to start with this young gentleman right here, Mr. Leonard Gereau, if you could join me over here. That was his, so one of your sons did the Photoshop on that? Yeah, no, we had a tough time trying to find a headshot for Len because it was a long time ago. So we thank his family for providing the artistic work on that. And it's a great photo. It's a great photo. Congratulations. Dr. Bueche. Sam. Mike? Justin? Rose? And Sean? Oh, can we have one last round of applause for our Hall of Famers? I love this day. I just want to thank everyone for coming today, all the family, friends, the beautiful children that you now have and your children. We wish you all the best. The alumni that are here today, the Hall of Famers, certainly make this a special moment. It's a moment in history that we continue to provide, just keep moving forward, right? I'll be back next year and we'll have some more fun. Again, congratulations and enjoy the rest of your day. You are certainly welcome to take photos, all the photos you want now, with your family and friends, and thank you.